lost my temper because people put children in harm's way.
Okay, so
Sound going out?
yeah. So Mayor Coogan, so tell us about what happened. Was this wasn't recently, too recent, right? It was pretty recent, but not like.
Within the last month, probably.
Yeah, because I know it looked like it was police body camera.
I'm just glad the police body cameras are working and that they captured this video. I mean, I was obviously, this was a Saturday morning, and the mayor's job is a 7-day-a-week job, and it was strictly a safety issue for a child in the road, and I did not like it a bit, and this young lady and I got into it a little bit.
So you were driving, you saw, I think a little girl came up to you and...
No, I was driving up first, and we had to stop for some other kids in the road, but they were from the Fall River Falcons, and they had a permit, so we kind of talked to them and coached them up about staying on the sidewalk and on the median, don't go out. When I came back down from the south end, 45 minutes, an hour later, a young boy came up off the sidewalk to the car, and when I said to him, "Who are you here with?" he said, "My mother and my sister." I said, "Well, where are they?" He said, "They're down there." And they were down on towards the end of Walgreens on the median, because the other guys were still up towards the top. So I pulled into the gas station, and I asked her what she was doing. And she said, "I'm here with an organization called Above and Beyond." And I said to her the same thing we had said to the Falcons. "Do you have a permit?" She goes, "Yes." I said, "Can I see it?" And then she just launched, started swearing. She was very angry. She said, "I do this all the time. You can't ask me, who are you?" I said, "I'm the mayor. And your son's in the road up there about 100 yards. I don't consider this safe at all." And she said, "Well, you let the bums stay here." And she kept pointing at one of the homeless guys on an exit. And I said, "They're panhandling. You told me you're with an organization. There's a distinct difference. We ask our organizations to get permits so we know when they're doing it. Well, those people should leave when I get here." I said, "They have a permit. They're not leaving anywhere." And then it got a little heated. And I said, "You can go stand over there on the exit from 24. That's state land if you want, but you don't belong out here." Fine. I went up the street and I got the little boy. When I came back, the police had arrived, as I called them. And what you see on the body cam is what happens next. She got extremely heated with the police and I. She thought she had every right to do this. And I told Channel 12 when we were doing the interview, I said, "I'm not going to do that." They said, "Well, why didn't you just drive away and let the police do it?" I said, "Well, what would I feel like if the fifth car behind me hit that kid?" I said, you got the wrong mayor for that. I'm not going to walk away when there's a kid in the road. It doesn't make sense. I said, if he had been on the sidewalk, I probably would have just kept going. When he came out to the car, I didn't think it was safe at all, and I wanted to know what was going on. And I followed up on that, and she kept calling me a piece of swear, and I told her to look in the mirror at one point, and then she told us she was from Cumberland, and she'd been coming over here canning for 3 years. And when I kept asking her about the organization, then she kind of got off it and said, "Well, he plays soccer and she's a cheerleader." And I'm like, they're driving 50 minutes from Cumberland or 45 minutes to come over here and panhandle on one of the busiest intersections in the South Coast. And I don't consider it safe at all. I don't like any of them out there, which is why we're pushing our panhandling ordinance. We're working with a number of groups to try to make sure we do it fair and legal, and I think this one may check all the boxes.
Well, first, Mayor, let me say thumbs up to you for getting involved, and that is a very busy intersection, and a child could have got hurt. So
absolutely.
Thank God you were there to be proactive, and for the mother of that child to be so irresponsible instead of, for example, for her children, especially using vulgarity out in the public like that, just really not acceptable. But, you know, hopefully I haven't seen the WPRI 12 interview yet. I'll watch it later on this evening. I hope they portray you in the city in a proper light. I expect them to do so. But you're correct. It's very important for people, if they're going to tag or can, that they get the proper permits and that they give notice to the city that they're going to be out there, because sometimes you do need to let police know or law enforcement know, and sometimes you do have to do some type of a traffic detail to keep people safe. In this particular case, it seems like the lady was using her children to possibly in some type of ruse to get money. I don't know, but that's what it looked like to me. But Fall River was very proactive in trying to tackle this panhandling issue. I know the ACLU brought a civil suit against the city many years ago. The court ruled, the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court issued a ruling on what you could do, time, place, and manner. And your legal department has been very proactive in drafting ordinances locally. Can you tell us about the ordinance that went to the city council?
Yeah, the ordinance we drafted locally hits the buttons on time, place, and manner. We're not banning panhandling. If Will Flanagan's coming out of his business or out of the courthouse and I say, hey, can you spare $1? And he says, no, thank you, and walks away, that's a perfectly normal exchange for panhandling. It's the aggressive people tapping on windows, walking in the street, out there selling stuff. That's part of our license to make sure they are licensed. We don't want them selling flowers and plants to try to take money out of business pockets. And that's what we're trying to do. We've focused on time, place, and manner. We're going to ban it from sunset to sunup. Can't be within 3 feet of a car because courts have ruled that when you're in a car in a line of traffic, you're actually a captive audience. You don't have the ability to walk away and say no thank you. They're at your window. They're in front of the car. It's dangerous. And Fall River is such a giving city that they give these people money, and I've said it at every neighborhood meeting I've been in. You have to understand, you're not buying them a Whopper or a Big Mac. You're buying them alcohol or drugs, and you're supporting their habit, which is leading to their further demise. Those people need treatment. They need help. We have mental health issues on that corner. I know we've had some sex offenders on that corner, and it's not safe for the public. I talked to Johnny O'Neill yesterday. He had a case where one of the panhandlers, under the guise of trying to get money, reached into a woman's car. He was convicted yesterday, reached into a woman's car and grabbed her chest.
Horrible. Horrible.
So that's what we're subjecting our residents to. If someone wants to go to Stop and Shop or Market Basket or Walgreens, they shouldn't be subjected to that. We don't need that. And if we're going to have a first-class city, if someone wants to raise money for the football team or the cheerleaders, go to Stop and Shop, say, can we be out there from 9 to 11 and do it in a safe, orderly manner with adult supervision. We don't need people just streaming around the corners waiting for a car to stop or someone that looks like prey for them to hit on. It's not a good look, and we have to do better. And the thing is with this, it's funny because this one video came out, but I've probably done this 6 or 8 times where I've gotten people out of the street. You can't stand on the sidewalk, and most of them are, they understand and they'll move, but she was just a very reluctant participant, and it doesn't bother me because I wasn't in the wrong. I knew what she was doing with her children was totally unsafe, and I had no idea what she was thinking, bringing them over here to walk around with a cup.
No, and I support you too on that, because you then say, is this politically correct for me to do, or am I going to get votes or lose votes because of this? You did it because you thought it was right and you were protecting the child from possibly being hurt, Mike.
Well, it's funny, I got to say something. But, why would you stop and do that? Because the same reason that when we were doing the procession in the Flint and the police got their schedule wrong, I directed traffic. The same reason we clean up a park. The same reason we shovel snow to help people. I'm not going to do, like I said, anything technical or get into a position where I'm supplanting or taking a job from someone that knows what they're doing. I'll help with the things that are in my area of concern, picking up litter, helping out. And I'm not afraid to tackle anything that I'm asking other people to do. If you're a mayor, you have to be a leader. And in this case, I don't like the look of that. I don't like people getting harassed at a stoplight, and I'm going to say something.
So I was at the city council on Tuesday. I did look over the ordinance, and you did a pretty good job of summarizing. It's a misdemeanor charges, $50 the first offense, $100 for the second. No panhandling in the dark, number one. No, not at bus or train stations. Not in public transportation vehicle or facility. Not on private property unless invited or allowed. Not within 3 feet of someone unless they invite to say, hey, I got dollars for you or something like that. No blocking pathways or following people. So if someone comes out and says, you got a dog, you say no, and they keep following you.
That's scary as
right?
heck.
Profanity, abuse, and language, which happens. Threatening, which you just said, someone got groped. Or false or misleading solicitations, meaning you're selling something that you see people sell magazines and water and all these kind of things. You have these $50, $100 misdemeanors. What are these guys? What if they don't pay it? What happens?
Well, then we have the ability to bring them in, bring them back to court, make their life uncomfortable, to let them go stand there every day. Whether at some point after the person does it for X number of times, and they're told by the police. I think what's going to happen the first time, Mike and Will, to be perfectly honest with you, is the police are going to pull up. We're going to have a copy of the new ordinance. We're going to hand it to them and say, this is what's expected in Fall River now. Please abide by our ordinance and go from there.